Hello, welcome to today's episode of Juice and the Numbers, your statistics and sports podcast. I am one of your hosts, Joshua Tracy.
And I am Corwin Heller.
Felt like there was going to be more to that, but yeah.
It also felt like there was like a question mark at the end.
And I'm Corwin Heller. Anyway, welcome to the show. Welcome to the Thursday episode of the show. We're recording this on May 11th, about 7:45 p.m. here on the East Coast. The New York Yankees have won yet another series against the Toronto Blue Jays. Suck my fucking balls, Toronto, your shitty ass stadium in your nice ass city. It's a backhanded and front-handed compliment. You get it both ways, Toronto. But anyway, before we talk lots and lots of baseball talk, I might as well knock the two football talk subjects that we have for today. Let's start with the probably the easier one to make fun of or digest or whatever. Fox Sports has announced that Tom Brady, whenever he chooses to retire, so it's like an open kind of thing, although in all likelihood at the end of this next season, will begin a 10-year contract as a color commentator with the broadcasting company for their NFL games to the tune of $375 million. 37.5 mil per season. That AAV is insane. Obviously, they're definitely feeling or seeing anyway the success that guys like Peyton Manning have had with the Monday night broadcast on ESPN and Tony Romo has had on CBS. And they certainly want to get in on that. And I guess Tom Brady has made, I think he certainly helped his public image by joining Twitter, which is wild. But he has certainly shown on Twitter anyway that he is capable of being personable and not nearly as hated as his entire aura would make you want to hate him. I still hate him because I spent 20 years hating him and I'm not going to stop now. But he has definitely shown a level of personability that I didn't think was present there. But hey, what do you think?
I'll tell you what, I think he's like straight up funny. He's funny. Like I have enjoyed pretty much everything he's posted on like Instagram and Twitter, like since he's essentially retired and started doing that and then just never stopped. But regardless, he's a fun dude. I never thought I'd say that, but I would look forward to seeing him in the booth. I have no idea who his partner is. They said it, but like I don't recognize who he would be.
Honestly, it doesn't even matter.
It really doesn't. Just pick the guy who gets along with Tom Brady the most and can just feed him shit. Because
Kevin Burkhardt, by the way.
Sure.
Yeah.
You could have said any name. I don't think it would have changed whether or not I knew him. I think it could be really good. I think it could also be like hilariously bad, but I also don't expect that to happen.
Yo, Kevin Burkhardt's from Bloomfield, New Jersey. Represent.
Oh shit.
Yeah. How long do you think it took for Tom Brady to earn his first fucking, what do you call it? 330. Let's go 37. Actually, no, how about this? In 22 seasons, how much money has Tom Brady earned?
Oh god, it's hard because he's taken so many good deals for the Patriots.
A lot of team friendly contracts.
I'll say let's say 15. So I'll say $310 million.
303.
I was off by $7 million.
Yeah, that was really impressive.
Wow.
Wow. But how wild is that? That Tom Brady in 10 years will make more than double his NFL salary in 22 years.
That's
like, how wild is that?
And the fact that he's still the second most wealthy person in that household is stupid.
It's yeah, just wild.
Genuinely, like, could this be football's first billionaire?
Well, no, because with the two of them combined, it'd be close though, because the two of those figures combined would put him at just Brady's earnings. Would put him at, let's just round it down a little bit, $675 million. So he would need $325 million to get to $1 billion. But I'm sure that over the course of his career, he's earned that in
without
what do you
question
call it?
for endorsements,
sponsorships and shit. So he's got to be, yeah.
So I know this because of golf. Do you know how much Tiger Woods is worth?
Is worth like net value?
Yeah. I should say his career earnings with both prize money and endorsements.
$600 million.
Okay. What would you attribute to on-field earnings on the course?
A lot less than that. 200 mil of the 600 mil in my head. So a third. So
$200 million on the course, 400 million off the course, 600 million total.
I'm trying to go low because I don't know.
Yeah. He's made $121 million in on-course earnings.
Okay, off by 80 mil, which is a lot, but ballpark. Okay.
With endorsement money of $1.6 billion.
Really off. I was really off on that figure. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. About 1/3 of the way there.
You were less than half of total and just only $80 million over what like the on-course would be, which is silly.
Wow. Okay.
$1.6 billion.
And you know what? I bet he's been worth every penny because he is one of the world's most recognizable people.
Even
if you don't like golf, like he's I distinctly remember being like 11 years old and knowing who Tiger Woods was. Mm-hmm. And if you ask me to name another golfer outside of Arnold Palmer because they sold fucking lemonade with his goddamn face on it, I could not tell you another golfer, but I knew who Tiger Woods was. So I bet it was worth every fucking dollar.
So the PGA Tour implemented this program to essentially monetize, both social media and positive impact you bring to the game. Basically, like, look, we're trying to grow golf here. We're trying to grow our league. We've seen how bad MLB is at it. All right, if you guys, interact with people on Twitter and you guys, are in a bunch of commercials, like you're bringing people into the sport, we have this formula. We're going to divvy out $40 million to the top 10 in our rankings. Tiger Woods didn't play in an event last year and won it.
Fuck you.
He is he's Wayne Gretzky.
I mean,
if we could do an entire episode just going into the absolute insanity that is Tiger Woods' career, and it would just be you just being like, if you could see a question mark over your head with like those like anime like pulses, like when you get stressed, like the visualization of confusion, that would be you for an hour and 20 minutes, because it doesn't make any sense.
But that's the thing, is like I can it's like the thing that we talk about a lot, or at least we talked about a lot with baseball this past season, which is like, we know that TV money is where the money is, and sponsorship money is essentially marketing money, which is the same idea as TV money. It's not the tickets to the event, it's the like the value of knowing the face, or the value of the likeness, essentially. And we know that's worth more than a ticket to the stadium. But it's like really getting because it's so easy to be like, what's a ticket to a baseball game cost? Depending on where you live, well, $15 gets you in the stadium usually pretty consistently. So it's like, $15. I know $15. I don't know $1.1 billion. I'll never know $1.1 billion.
1.6.
Fuck you. I don't know $1.6 billion. I don't know $1 million. You know what I mean? Like, I can rationalize the ticket to the stadium price, because even the most expensive ticket in Yankee Stadium, For a one game, it's too much money if you want to sit in the legend seats. But you know, it'd be like, let's call a grand, $1,500. And it's like, that's a ridiculous amount of money. But like, I know $1,500. I don't know $1 million. Who knows $1 million? Real quick though, to get back to the football side of this, where we started.
Yeah.
How many years into Tom Brady's career did it take him to amass a total earning of $37.5 million, which will be now his new average salary per year from the Fox deal?
I'm going to say, so 6 years. He was drafted in what, 1999?
His first salaried year with the Patriots I have here is 2000.
Okay, so 2000, 2006. I'll say 2007.
You were close. It was actually 2006.
Damn it.
In 2006, with his earnings that season of $14 million, it dragged his career earnings up to $45.5 million. Prior to that year, would have been under our $37 million threshold at, well, $30 million. So it took him 7 NFL seasons, inclusive of the 2006 season, 7 NFL seasons to get up to an amount of money that he will now be making annually. How many years, how many individual seasons in Tom Brady's career has he earned more than $37 million?
One
last year.
This past season, yeah.
That was it. And it was the only one that comes even close. The next highest, this past year, he earned $39,420,000. Before that, the only time he had come close was the year before that in 2020, when he earned $28.3 million. And nothing else comes remotely. He never earned more than 20 mil as a Pat. Actually, he earned more than 20 mil his last season with the Patriots, 23 mil. Outside of that, he never eclipsed 20. I mean,
it's absolutely insane how we talked about this with Mike Trout and most recently, I think, with Juan Soto. But it's crazy how Mike Trout can sign a $500 million contract and by all accounts is underpaid. Tom Brady can make $30 million, $39 million in a season, be underpaid to the extent where he's retiring and getting a raise.
Well, that's what I was about to say.
He's on-field money on the impact. Yeah. His money, his financial impact for a football team is so fucking crazy. Him sitting on his ass talking about it is just a natural raise.
He is taking a pay cut to play in the NFL this season. He is slotted to make $30 million from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this season. And Fox Broadcasting Company is willing to pay him $37. He is giving away. He is actively not consuming or taking in $7.5 million this year in order to play in the NFL. Now, you could say that, because the deal is 10 years, regardless of the starting point, that he is still earning the $30 million. I say, fuck you, because there's no way in hell that if at the end of those 10 years, Tom Brady doesn't receive some type of extension from Fox, because I'm sure he'll be good at it. And these people kind of never go away. So like, they never stop doing this. This is all they do. But it also, we've been saying, again, you and I, maybe not so much with football. It feels like a conversation revolves usually more around the baseball side of things, but we've been saying for years that the labor aspect of the game is so severely undervalued, or that is where the money should be going. The money should be in the hands of players. And obviously there's more players than there are broadcasters, but still, in a world in which a broadcaster, a man who is solely sitting on a stool, ripping farts, talking about NFL games that they're happening in a way that certainly is more intuitive or better constructed, more intimately familiar than the vast majority of the viewing populace would be. But still, nonetheless, just talking about football is much, much easier than actually playing football. Otherwise, Mark Sanchez wouldn't be able to talk about football because he was barely good at it. So it's wild that it can be where this value is because we also often see, again, maybe not necessarily in football specifically, usually, but we so often see an undervaluing of the labor side of things, and this really highlights it.
Mm-hmm. I'm honestly really excited to see it. I'm over Tom Brady as a player just as much as you are, but I'm looking forward to the future of Tom Brady in the booth talking shit, cracking jokes, and just bragging about all the cool shit he's done. I'm content with that, Tom Brady.
That makes one of us.
Yeah.
I want him
it.
to go away. I never want to hear his stupid fucking name again. I'm done, man. I am done. Oh well. I will have to deal. Anyway, the other NFL topic that we had for today, real quick, or the only other thing that's really happened in the last 2 days since we recorded, is Josh Lambo, former Jacksonville Jaguar kicker, is filing a lawsuit against the Jacksonville Jaguars, alleging that former head coach Urban Meyer created a hostile work environment and the team did nothing to help. So he is saying that Urban Meyer had kicked Lambo and violated Florida's civil, criminal, and employment law concerning assault, battery, and workplace violence in furtherance of an employer's interest. So, furthermore, the lawsuit says that Meyer's actions impacted Lambo's ability to sleep, practice, and perform his duties at a high level, caused him emotional and mental distress, and he's seeing pay owed, damages, and other legal fees. So a lot that goes into it. What do you make of this kind of off the rip here?
I think that if everything, I honestly forget so much about the details that Josh Lambo came out with, but regardless of, the factuality of the matter, I would support Josh Lambo in attempting to go after the NFL for its treatment of players in this way. I would wholeheartedly support it. I honestly don't know what to expect from the results. I don't know if I would expect the NFL to be like, I like in Succession, I have never seen Logan get fucked. And I've never seen the NFL get fucked. And it's really hard to bet against the NFL when have they genuinely truly lost a case like this? Granted, I don't think there's ever been a case like this. But at the same time, if I was a betting man, I'm letting my money roll on the winner until we see otherwise.
Well, if we're jumping ahead of that, I would assume that this gets settled out of court, because I'd imagine that secretly most NFL front offices are more like the Washington ones than they are dissimilar to the Washington ones. I assume that of most sports front offices, not just football, because every time we hear about one of them, it's usually that. Very rarely is it like, oh, they were secretly the best. It feels like it's always like, yeah, they hired Mickey Callaway, who just kept trying to fuck everybody, or they hired this random GM down in Houston that just kept trying to fuck everybody. And it's like, oh my God, how is it all of them? So to that effect, rather than having discovery, it might be in the NFL's best interest to just say, like, you're Josh Lambo, here's like $5 million, like, go have a blast. Mm-hmm. From a standpoint, from where Josh Lambo is coming from, it is very interesting, because with how high performance the role and responsibility of any professional athlete is, especially today, as we understand how carefully curated, not just like their workouts and their routines are, but like their diet, their sleep schedule, their pregame rituals, all that type of stuff. It is also an interesting point as to like, where is the line to which an interruption of that becomes detrimental to future earnings? If you have somebody that is consistently fucking with your ability to perform at the level that you need to maintain your career, especially in a positional group as volatile as kicker, which is not necessarily a hyper important position, but nonetheless comes with a lot of volatility even within the NFL sphere. It's an interesting point. Obviously, because sports franchises are still companies, fuck them. If he was suing the Jets, fuck the Jets. Players got to get their money while they can. The franchise will exist forever. So get whatever money you can get out of them before your playing career ends. But it is interesting because there's some stuff that is beyond anyone's control. There's some stuff you sign up for. If I'm an NFL player and I have a kid in September that I am going to try to help take care of, and the NFL season starts in September, and if I actively try to help with that kid, like my sleep schedule is fucked. You know what I'm saying? Like that's going to affect my ability to practice. But I sign up for that. But if I have a coach and like I'm staying in a place that he has access to, and my coach consistently and continuously personally interrupts my sleep, that would be workplace harassment, and if it again becomes detrimental to my performance, then it's an interesting point about lost wages and potentially lost future wages depending on your season's performance. Yeah, I'm not sure how much credence I have the knowledge to even give to any of it. Not a lawyer, but again, with how meticulous the modern day athlete's entire being is, throwing them off really is quite easy. So, those lines I think get a little bit thinner.
Especially when one of the accusations, which I'm just pulling out of my memory, I feel like was substantiated by others, was that Urban Meyer like physically kicked him out of practice.
That's what he says as well, Lambo.
I think that is going to go a long way towards, hey, this is football. I get that, but you also should have some expectation of not being assaulted by your boss at any job.
They fucked up George Patton for less. So, I mean.
Yeah.
God. And that was George Patton. Not that it's an excuse, but like we're talking Urban Meyer, a guy who had to retire in disgrace.
A World War.
Yeah. Numero dos, the big one with all the movies about it.
Yeah.
It was funny. Corwin and I, we just talked about Saving Private Ryan for our movies podcast using the big screen the other day. And Corwin mentioned the Best Picture nominees that year about how Saving Private Ryan didn't win. I looked, and 3 out of the 5 movies that year were about World War II that were nominated for Best Picture. 3 out of 5 of the Best Picture nominees were World War II based. It was Saving Private Ryan, Life is Beautiful, which is about Jews within the internment camps or the concentration camps, and The Thin Red Line, which was about a specific man's remembrance of World War II. Yeah. And then the other 2 were both like Shakespearean, like 1500s movies with Shakespeare in Love, and then there was like Queen Anne or some shit like that, like
Romeo plus Juliet.
Yeah, exactly. But how funny is that? Like, man, without World War II, what would we have made movies about?
I tried watching Romeo plus Juliet the other day. It is eccentric. It is a lot. I couldn't watch.
Watching
like,
it in high school and cringing even then.
I liked it in high school. I did not like it now. I didn't give it an honest effort, but oof.
I mean, look, guys, there's only so cool you can make Shakespearean dialogue. Yeah. It's 600 years old, like 500, whatever. Let it go. Let it go. Anyway.
If you have nothing else for the NFL, I just walked upon a interesting stat that I think would be I want to hear your thoughts on this.
Lay it on me.
Ryan Fitzpatrick, the quarterback that we all know
I'm familiar
and love, is not currently on any team's roster. He is a free agent.
Okay.
yet has the same odds to win MVP in 2022 as reigning Defensive Player of the Year, TJ Watt.
Wow, that's sad.
That is unacceptable.
And that is because, I would assume, the NFL treats the MVP award as the best quarterback of the year award. And the likelihood of, without making an argument out of it, one of the three best defensive players in the entirety of the NFL, giving him the same odds to win it as a quarterback that is currently unsigned really speaks volumes to how unlikely Vegas would expect any defensive player to win that award.
On a whole nother level of outrageous, he also shares MVP odds with Zach Wilson, which is arguably even more insane.
Zach Wilson is on a team.
A starter on a team with a vastly improved offense and also happens to be the reigning second overall pick.
Well, that end, like, ignore all that shit for a second. You know what I mean? He's on a team. So there's a known quantity of what we're dealing with when confronting Zach Wilson. Like, it's impossible for Ryan Fitzpatrick to have the same odds. What if Ryan Fitzpatrick got signed by the Jets? That means that in the exact same situation, not only would he have all the same players, same coaches, blah, 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 he'd also have to bank on Zach Wilson getting hurt or playing so poorly they start Fitzpatrick. Like, there's so many more things that have to happen and so many more unknown variables with Ryan Fitzpatrick's situation to put him over any starting quarterback is wild at this point for those odds.
Especially since it's not like this is a situation where Ryan Fitzpatrick, oh my God, is like some starting caliber QB waiting on a deal, or a Deshaun Watson situation where he's a top end QB who might not play much, if at all, this season. He's not an outstanding QB. He is probably the king of good enough. He has
also
forever
57,
been and forever will be. Yeah, exactly. But he went to Harvard, so he gets a couple points for that.
Where would he play?
Ryan
Fitzpatrick
he
gets signed tomorrow. Where do you see the headline being?
Carolina.
Oh, that's a great choice.
Because Carolina does not have a starting quarterback.
That's a great choice.
It's like the only actual option.
I was going to say Miami.
Go back to Miami, maybe.
Just for insurance for Tua.
I could, yeah. I mean, Atlanta, their only QBs are Mariota and Desmond Ridder, and I'm pretty sure Mariota is like hurt.
I'm not convinced Atlanta wants to be good this season, so
I don't think they do.
Yeah, so I don't think they'd even try.
I am very convinced they are going all out. Them, the Seahawks, and who's
quarterbacking the Saints team right now?
Jameis.
Oh, right.
Marcus Mariota, Desmond Ridder, Felipe Franks. That's not a great room.
Yeah.
I want to see Seattle's depth because they're not doing too great. Geno
David
Smith
Locke,
is the written in starter, according to
what?
our lads, for Seattle.
What about Locke? Drew Locke.
He's listed as the number 2. Granted, we're not even into training camp or OTAs yet, but he's listed as number 2. We actually are in OTAs. What's another outrageous team? The Dolphins, their backups, Teddy Bridgewater. It's not terrible. Not great. Not terrible. I don't know. I mean, unless anybody comes to mind.
Nah.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into baseball talk then. Let's start with the guy that put up a stellar performance right after we finished being like, look at this fucking piece of shit. And that is Reid Detmers, who Detmers, I'm never going to get this motherfucker's name right. Reid Detmers who threw a no-hitter last night, or I guess Tuesday night as you're listening to this, for the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim against the Tampa Bay Rays. He went out there. Oh, God, I missed Corey Kluber's start. Holy fuck. Wow. Did not see what his but Reid Detmers went out there through 9 complete innings, no hits, no runs, no earned runs, a single walk, but only 2 strikeouts. He faced 1 over the minimum, 28 batters, and threw 108 pitches. 68 of them were strikes, 43 of them were strikes by contact, so foul balls or balls put into play. 8 swinging strikes, 17 strikes looking, 11 ground balls, 14 fly balls, 4 line drives, a game score of 88. An interesting performance, defense heavy for sure. And just an absolute, smoking by the Angels. Because Corey Kluber on the other side of the ball, 3 innings pitched, 11 hits, 8 runs, all of them earned, 2 home runs, 2 strikeouts, faced 20 batters. Surprisingly, his ERA only went up to 4.55. But yeah, wildly not good. Jesus. Yeah. It's the second no-hitter of the year. It's the first solo man no-hitter of the year. The only other one being the Mets combined no-hitter. This is Reid's first full season with the Angels so far, starting in the rotation. He's already eclipsed his last year inning pitched total, and he now has cut his ERA down to about half of what it was last season. So far in more innings pitched, he has allowed 4 fewer runs and 11 more innings pitched. He's off to a really nice start to the season. That this start drops his ERA below 4, which is where it was when we last spoke, which is one of the reasons why he caught some strays from us. Did you watch any of this Angels game?
I did not, and I probably wouldn't have switched to it if I realized it was a no-hitter. I would have had zero faith in Reid Detmers. But hey, I'm watching the Angels now.
Yeah, I absolutely would not have watched this game either. I'm just lazy. But did you see the Anthony Rendon bit that came out of that?
Him batting for the first time ever left-handed and
hitting
lighten it up. Yeah, lighten it up.
Did you see the actual swing? Did you see what
No.
Did you watch the video?
No, I didn't.
Please go find the video because his swing is honestly hilarious. I've always wondered this, could guys switch hit at maybe a lower level just to kind of fuck around, if the mechanics translate? And if watching Rendon do that is any indication of my theory, it is that no, they can't. No, they cannot do it. Because
honestly looks more like a golf swing than a baseball swing.
It looks like he's making fun of somebody else's swing.
Yeah. Wow.
Granted, he was going up against Brett Phillips, so he probably wasn't trying super duper hard. Brett Phillips in that game, in his relief appearance in the 9th inning, 1 inning pitched, 5 hits, 4 runs, all of them earned. He let up 2 home runs, no walks, no strikeouts. But yeah, it's I'm glad that that's where we've gotten to. I'm glad that we can allow the batters to have a little bit more fun in blowout games where the pitching team has given up. If there's a position player pitching,
mm-hmm.
There's no rules anymore. Absolutely right. No more rules.
Absolutely.
I've been dying to see more players hack it from their opposite handedness at the plate, because fuck, man, if we're not going to institute a mercy rule and both sides are willing to just knock it off, then fucking yeah, let's have a ball. That one highlight got more good press than Anthony Rendon hitting a regular style home run, an au naturel home run.
Could you imagine if the attitude behind blowouts was just like, let's just go out and have some fun right now. Like, hey, we'll finish playing 9 innings, but like we'll guarantee that we won't like go and try and score more than you. Let's just play some soft pitch softball and just score 25 more runs. We'll let you keep the lead. Sure, that'll be our unwritten rule, the only one we got. Otherwise, yeah, here's some fucking lobs. Let's light this bitch up. Let's do something to get the fans to enjoy it.
I mean, that's what I'm all about. I'm trying to think, what are some other good like blowout rules that they could go along with?
You have to bat opposite-handed. You have to pitch opposite-handed to even things out. You no more gloves.
That just sounds dangerous. That's a defensive tool. Yeah, that just sounds dangerous.
Touche. 2 gloves. Center fielder has no gloves. Out corner fielders have 2 gloves.
I got a great rule.
So you have to relay it in. What's up?
I got a great rule to speed things up. If there's a 10-run gap, every hit has to be at least 2 bases. So you have to, or it's an out. So you have to try. Like if you hit a bloop single, you have to go for 2. You can't stop at first base. You have to go for second. So there's no just beating out an infield single. You know, you have to make the turn and go for second.
Okay. What about to get really crazy with it? Oh, go Penguins, go fuck you Rangers. You get 1 pitch per player, but that pitch has to be a strike. So you throw a strike. If they swing and miss, that guy's out. If you throw a strike and he hits it, whatever, he gets the hit. But if it's a ball, he takes a base anyway.
So just 1 pitch at bats.
1 pitch at bats.
No, I don't want that. Okay. I want, because then they don't get to be goofy to each other. Like, you know, those moments where like Anthony Rizzo throws like a really stupid looking ball to Freddie Freeman and Freddie Freeman just laughs at him. Like, that's a great moment. That video still gives me some serotonin.
You know what's one that would actually like be doable and also wouldn't completely break the game, like scoring wise or anything like that? Pitchers have to hit, hitters have to pitch. They just switch roles. All the dugout goes out to the bullpen. The bullpen comes, sits in the dugout, starts warming up. Everyone's going to suck at what they do except for Ohtani. But you just switch roles completely.
Okay. I think MLB would never actually do any of this. It'd be up to teams to like unwritten rule this shit, but the fun ones. Like the unwritten rules of having a good time. But a lot of this shit would be fun. Is it a shame that the Angels won this game 12-0 instead of like 4-0? Because we have spent now significantly more time talking about the blowout aspect of it than we have the fact that, also Reid Detmers threw a no-hitter.
Yeah, because somebody gives it. Like if it was like Shohei Ohtani throwing a no-hitter or Noah Syndergaard throwing a no-hitter for them, yeah, that'd be really cool. Like we enjoy watching them. This is just like, well, yeah, the ball is absolutely dead. League batting average is 230. The fact that it's taken this long to get a no-hitter is probably the most surprising aspect of this no-hitter.
That's a good point, actually. Yeah, we had 3 by this time last year.
Yeah.
Which, not saying that's necessarily better, but it does definitely feel a little bit different. Yeah. Huh.
I just want
anyway,
normal baseball, man.
Speak for yourself. Reid Detmers, he threw 46 four-seam fastballs, 27 curveballs, 24 changeups, 10 sliders, and the 1 random cutter. Which at that point, why'd you even throw it? He induced 10 swing and misses. One of which was the cutter. So he threw a cutter 1 time, got a swing and miss on it, and was like, I'm just putting that one back in my pocket. We're never doing that again.
That's the I fucking need a strike or I'm gonna die type
Do you
pitch
think?
where you never use it so nobody expects it, but you have to have that pitch in your arsenal.
I wish you could tell me
You don't
where it
have
was
to.
thrown because I almost wonder if it was like the 7th or 8th inning and he was getting kind of nervous and he just gripped the ball wrong.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Because like you're kind of getting caught up in the moment a little bit, but you're trying not to let yourself get caught up in the moment. So you grab the ball a little wrong, but you don't notice it, and it cuts in, and you're like, "Oh, all right, not what I meant to do, but glad it worked."
Yeah. We're not going to try that again, but oh my God, I'm so glad it worked out. That could have been ugly. Hanging a, change up, middle,
Yeah,
curveball that doesn't break.
because you're not gonna get to a no hitter and be like, this would be the perfect time for trying out a pitch I don't know how to throw.
You know what? You would think, but there have been times where I've been golfing where I'm like, I'm hitting everything well today. I haven't hit this club well ever. It's working today though. Let's give it a shot. And then it doesn't work because of course it wouldn't. But you have that confidence in yourself where you're like, this is the time to try it out.
Okay,
why not?
hold on. I'm sorry, but I think this might be the only cutter he's ever thrown in his fucking life because I'm looking at his baseball savant page and going through his pitch usage breakdown. And man, the cutter it's not here. It's literally not even here.
Can you message him on Twitter and be like, hey, did you mean to throw this?
I mean, man, I'm looking at his pitch usage and the cutter is not here. This might be his first cutter. This might be the only one he's ever so far in what year is it? 2022. He has thrown 235 four-seam fastballs, 118 curveballs, 88 sliders, and 43 changeups. You know what pitch I didn't just say? All right, so I'm now actually convinced that my theory is right. I'm convinced that cutter was an absolute mistake.
I believe it.
That's fucking funny. Anyway, so he got 10 whiffs total, one of which was on the cutter, one single whiff on the four-seam fastball, which is kind of odd. 3 on the curveball and 5 on the changeup. He had 17 call strikes, as we had mentioned. So his CSW percent for each pitch, 20% on the four-seamer, 41% on the curveball, 21% on the changeup, and then 100% on the cutter, which is just, again, so funny.
You should try to learn a cutter now.
Right? He should make it a thing. He had 16 foul balls and 25 total balls in play, which again is really interesting considering the fact that he only faced 28 batters, which means that 25 of them, so all but 3 batters, had their balls put in play, which the rate is astonishing there.
Yeah, I mean, you have to have some pretty astonishing numbers to throw a no-hitter.
Yeah, it definitely, this one definitely feels the most. And, just real quick, again, it makes sense. He only had 2 strikeouts. So actually now I'm wondering, no, because he only need 27 of the outs. Yeah, he faced 20 batters, but only need 27 outs. So yeah, it makes sense. But it really is wild. No hitters really are a team sport or a team occurrence. To rely on your defense to get you 25 outs is, significant. Very. So yeah, congrats to the kid. Yeah, good for him. I don't know what this means for his career necessarily. He still has a lot to prove, being the Angels' #1 prospect and still kind of having a rocky start to the season, even inclusive of this no-hitter. He is still not above the 50th percentile in anything other than walk rate. So everywhere else he has been subpar to bad. So again, still a lot to prove, but a really, really great start from the rookie. So here's hoping for more great moments from the Angel start to the season.
Yeah. Hope and pray. Hope and pray.
Speaking of great starts to the season, just figured we'd close on a phenomenon that we really
Nestor Cortez Jr.
What'd you say?
Nestor Cortez Jr.
No, we talked about him already. It's now time to talk about something that's probably going to break both of our bold predictions at various points, which is the fact that the Diamondbacks and the Rockies both decided to be good this year, which is strange.
Good so far.
Good so far, which still, though, is more than I was expecting.
Yeah. I was not expecting good, period.
Hold on one second.
Talk.
Yeah, so I figured we could spend a little bit of time just looking at the Diamondbacks and Rockies and seeing how they've managed to achieve these modicums of success. Now, they're not tearing it up necessarily in terms of the standings. They are still 4th and 5th in their division, but both teams are over 500, and we're almost halfway through the month of May, and being even slightly above 500 is a lot more than I expected from them. I mean, if you told me at this point in the season that the Colorado Rockies would have, I don't know, 3.5 or 3.5 games ahead of the Phillies, should they have been in the same division, I would be pretty fucking surprised.
Mm-hmm.
And yet that's where we are.
So I know Zach Gallen is having a great year. I know Dalton Varsho and Merrill Kelly are having good years there because we just talked about them. Who's having a good year in Colorado?
Well, that's kind of what's confusing, isn't it? Like, we've heard a lot about the Diamondbacks rotation and how, we just talked about showed some surprise in them the other day. But with Chris Bryant hurt, it's like, who are the Rockies and what are they accomplishing? And I'll tell you, man, it gets even more surprising once I tell you the ERAs I'm staring at in their starting rotation.
Go on.
So their number one starter by innings is Austin Gomber. He is 2-3.
Naturally.
And his ERA is 4.36. Kyle Freeland, back at it, almost 30. That feels weird. He's 1-3 to start the season. And he has an ERA that's not bad, 3.94. So, under 4, but not great. German Marquez is having another Jekyll and Hyde season. He has, in 32 innings, an 0-3 start to the season and a 6.47 ERA.
Of course.
Chad Kuhl is off to a really hot start, 29.2 innings, a 1.82 ERA. He's 3-0 to start the season. And then Antonio Senzatella has 27.2 innings, is 2-2, and has an ERA of 4.88. So not a ton of decisions in the starting rotation, and most of the decisions are losses. There's a lot more success in the bullpen, whereas Julius Chassin, despite his 7.43 ERA in 13.1 innings, somehow has a 3-1 in the decision column, which wow. But their bullpen's pretty jilted as well. Again, Chassin's 7.43 ERA, Carlos Estevez's 5.19 ERA. Highlights like Justin Lawrence, who's I think currently hurt, 2.19 ERA, Daniel Bard's at 1.64, and Tyler Kinley's at 0.79. So really, if they can get a lead, then that part of their bullpen can help them. But you go into the depth part of their bullpen, and there is one single ERA under 5 in the depths of the bullpen. Everybody else is over 6. Everybody else is over 6.
But 2 of them are really good.
Yeah,
I guess 3 of them.
You might say, well, the team must be mashing. And no, they're really not. Their OPS plus is 103 as a team.
Yeah.
They are distinctively not mashing. Their hottest hitter is still CJ Cron and his 166 OPS plus. They have 4 batters total in the bulk of their lineup that is hitting above a 100 OPS plus. CJ Cron, Jose Iglesias at shortstop, 125, Ryan McMahon at third base, 107, and Jonathan Daza at center field with a 135. Connor Joe, who I'm not convinced is a real person, has a 132 OPS plus as a utility player, and Randall Grichuk has a 113.
The guy who's better than Mike Trout.
drafted in front of him. That's all that counts, baby. So it's just odd. And like, if we look at some of their expected stats, like the Arizona Diamondbacks expected batting average. Oh, sorry. We're talking about the Rockies. My bad. Although that would be really fun to jump into them, but I'll leave them to the side for a moment. The Rockies' expected batting average is actually 257, which is relatively middle of the road. So like they're doing fine. It's confusing. They're not really. It doesn't seem like they're doing well anywhere. They're in the bottom three teams within the league for exit velocity, so that's obviously bad. Like their WOBA and their WOBAcon are in the top 3 and top 7% of the league respectively, but none of their expected stats really line up to that. So it's pretty fair to say, I would think, that they're massively outperforming their actuals, and even then, they're not even outperforming it by like very much. You know, it's such a weird team.
I found their home road splits at home this season. So overall, they're 16-14. At home, they are 11-5, scoring 92 runs while allowing 75. On the road, they are 5-9, 40 runs scored, 80 runs allowed.
Ooh, God. That's
Colorado
actually surprising
Rockies.
that they're allowing that many runs, because usually, now the ball moves more at Coors. So, all right.
I mean, a differential of 17 runs over the course of 16 games, yet they have they're 6 games over 500. That's screaming regressing to the mean.
Yeah. I mean, the Diamondbacks feels a little bit more sustainable, but go ahead.
They also played a series against Cincinnati where they swept them 24-8 in runs.
Well, haven't we all?
That goes a long way.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, God. At some point, we're going to have to talk about how bad the Reds are, but let's at least be nice and talk about how much better than expected these two teams are. The Reds. Have they won a game since last time we talked shit about them?
I think they've won one game.
Let's see. The Reds are currently, hold on. Oh wow, Baseball Reference is
6-24.
Oh, so they've won a couple games since the last time we talked.
They have gone 3-2 since we last talked about them.
Wow, the over 500 in that stretch. Look at that
winning record.
Yeah, my Baseball Reference is furious at how
they
many
have,
games they have open.
3 players are batting over 100 OPS. Their team OPS. Do you want to take a guess? OPS plus, I should say.
85.
72.
Oh my God. I thought I was being so fucking mean. Oh my God.
Tommy Pham, OPS plus of 104. Catcher Tyler Stevenson, OPS 147. Brandon Drury, OPS plus of 148. Joey Votto, OPS plus, take a guess.
I think it's bad this year, which is sad. I want to say 95.
95. A little off, 19.
Oh my God. I didn't want to be mean to Joey. That's so bad.
122, 278, 135 slugging for a 413 OPS.
Yeah, his time in Cincinnati is over.
90 plate appearances.
Hopping back over to the Rockies real quick.
The Rangers just scored 2 goals to tie it up, so no big deal.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
Yeah. What?
Nothing. They have a team ERA plus of 71.
The Reds. Right.
Yeah.
Well, here, let's talk about the teams that we had planned on talking about. We can do the Reds later. It's a whole mess we got to talk about. So for the Rockies, their 103 OPS plus as an organization is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So like dead ass like league average. Their team ERA of 97 puts them in the bottom 10 teams in the league. So the fact that they're even above 500 probably is not going to hold very, very long. It seems very fortuitous, and I'm not going to go through the game log, but based on the plus minus that Corwin just kind of illustrated, it sounds like they're vastly outperforming their Pythagorean record as well, and probably just like winning games, 5-4, and then losing games 7-0 would be my fucking guess here. They're actually, Baseball Reference tells you their Pythagorean win loss, which would be 13-17. As they have allowed 23 more runs than they have scored. So yeah, the Rockies' hot start is luck more than anything. The Diamondbacks, though, is a little bit more interesting. They're also still outperforming their metrics by a bit, but in a way that likely could hold a little bit better. Yeah. The Arizona Diamondbacks. Boy, howdy, they're not hitting super well. They have a team OPS plus of 89. And to that effect, they have the lowest expected batting average in all of baseball, 226. So they're just not hitting the ball super duper hard. It also shows in their slugging, which is in the bottom 10 of the league at 411. And their expected weighted on base, which is also in the bottom 10 teams of the league at 318. It's bad. They have they have 4 players over a 100 OPS plus. Christian Walker, David Peralta, Dalton Varsho, and Pavin Smith. That's it. That's it. You know what? Carson Kelly, who's currently on the 10-day IL, but still has the most starts at catcher. You know what his OPS plus is? Did I tell you this the other day?
You do not.
-19.
Hi. How?
Carson Kelly is currently slashing 105, 150, 123. He has a single extra base hit, 1 double. That's it. 2 walks to 20 strikeouts. The fact that he has 3 runs scored is honestly insane, because he has 6 hits and 2 walks, which means he's been on base from those instances. Anyway, he has a hit by pitch too. All right, so he's been on base a total of 9 times and has scored on 3 of them. So he is a run scored in 30% of his plate appearance trips to first, which is it just seems like too many. It just seems like way too many times to be scoring when you don't get on base that much. Boy, howdy does it. But their pitching, on the other hand, is like fucking fantastic. It's just a real head scratcher. Merrill Kelly has an ERA of 1.22. Madison Bumgarner has an ERA of 1.78.
Holy shit.
Zach Davies has an ERA of 3.34.
That's
Zach Gallen
totally fine.
has an ERA of 0.95.
Yep.
And then the lone guy with an ERA over 3.5 is Humberto Castellanos, who has an ERA of 4.32, which for your 5th starter is kind of fine.
If your 5th starter has a 3.5 ERA,
4.32.
Good. Sure. Doesn't matter. That's excellent.
Yeah. Now
I don't think the Rockies have a starter that has a 3.5 ERA.
I still have their page up. I can tell you. Chad Cool. That's it. It's the only guy.
Ooh.
Everybody else is over that. Yeah. The FIPS are a little bit more disparate. Merrill Kelly and Zach Gallen both have within the realm of a 2.1 FIP. So their ERAs are definitely outperforming their FIPS, but you know, their FIPS are still good. Those FIPS would still be good ERAs. So no big deal. Davies and Bumgarner seem to be getting maybe a little bit more lucky. Bumgarner with a 4.68 FIP and Davies with a 4.25 FIP. So they're both starting off a lot hotter than maybe some of their. And I know using FIP is very lazy, but I'm lazy. So they're outperforming the metrics by a little bit. Humberto Castellanos seems to be underperforming his FIP as he has a 3.42 FIP. But still, honestly, none of these are like, I mean, Madison Bumgarner is going to get worse, but none of these are even that crazy.
I like that the guy who has, I'm pretty sure he has a World Series MVP trophy is the one that you're like, oh, I'm certain he's going to be the one that regresses the most. Yeah.
That and his FIP is 3 entire runs worse than his ERA.
Yeah. That's tough. That's a tough metric to overcome.
Yeah.
So I was dirty.
The bullpen's been hot. There's only one single guy over a 3.6 ERA in the bullpen. It's no Ramirez. Everybody else is under that. 2 players under a 2 ERA. One guy under a run. I mean, really, the pitching has been, relatively speaking, lights the fuck out. As a team, they've only allowed 101 earned runs.
Dalmatians.
101 earned runs for the whole team the whole time. How many earned runs do you think the Rockies have allowed?
Earned runs of 72.
Oh, it's more. They have a worse ERA.
Math is hard.
Yeah, 136.
A lot more.
Yeah, it's a lot more. it's 35 more runs. 35 more earned runs. Yeah. How many earned runs do you think the Dodgers have allowed as a team so far this year? They're 20-8. It can't be that many runs, right? Give me a number. Corwin?
I'll say 79.
Oh, wow. Hold on 1 second. Hold on. All right, so your guess was what, 79?
Yeah.
59.
Damn it.
59. Yeah, it's the fewest. It's the fewest in all of baseball.
Of course.
Yo, man, how many do you think the Cincinnati Reds have allowed so far to start the year?
159.
183.
Oh my God.
What's funny is 159 would be the second worst. Like 159 was a good guess. Like that
For
would
a
be
normal
second
bad
worst.
team.
Yes, absolutely. It would have been second worst, but no, the Reds were like, fuck your face. We're worse than that.
What's the difference between the runs the Dodgers have given up and the Reds? 130?
124. 124 more. AKA
how
the
many
entire
teams
number
have
of
given
runs,
up?
all of the runs the Kansas City Royals have allowed. That's the difference.
Jesus Christ. How many teams have given up more than 100 and whatever runs?
More than 124 runs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Jesus.
Yeah, the Braves, the Rockies, the Pirates, the Nats, and the Reds are the only teams that have allowed more than 124 runs. So the gap between number 1, the Dodgers, and number 30, the Reds, is bigger than most teams in baseball.
What's the gap between the last 2 teams? 30 something.
37 earned runs.
Wow.
37 earned runs.
Do you think that gap ever is greater than the total amount of runs the Dodgers have given up? Do you think the gap between worst and second to worst is larger than the amount of runs actually given up by the best team?
No, I don't think it will, because I would expect the Reds to get better, not get good, but get better. Like they're underperforming their FIP by over almost a run and a half. Like it's bad. So they're not good. Their 5 FIP as a team is still the worst in baseball, but they're outperforming that, or underperforming that, I should say. Whereas the Dodgers, because their ERA is so low, and FIP tends to be meaner than that, are underperforming or are overperforming their FIP by a little bit. So I would expect the Dodgers to give up slowly a few more runs, and the Reds to start giving up a few fewer runs, which will just prevent that gap from widening too much. But I could also be making that shit. How about this? I'm gonna look at last year's stats to see if we can find that gap. So let's see. The team with the fewest earned runs allowed last season was also the Dodgers, 486. The team with the most earned runs, pitching staff, was the Baltimore Orioles with 910. So the gap between those two teams is whatever that is, 424 runs, which is a lot. That's almost, double what the Dodgers did, but every team allowed more than that amount. So it's not nearly as grave of a difference as we're looking at the present point in time. The gap between worst and second worst is so many. It's 106 runs. The Diamondbacks had allowed 804 last season. Just so many runs. So it's tough to. Okay, hold on. What's more wild now? That the Orioles had allowed twice as many earned runs as the Dodgers, almost, or that the gap between 1 and 2 last year for most earned runs, 104. The gap this year is a quarter of that, and we're not a quarter of the way through the season yet.
What?
The gap between 1 and 2 right now is 27 earned runs, right?
Yeah.
We've only played 30 games. So we're 1/5 of the way through the season. But to get to 104 runs, that's only 4 times the current gap between 29 and 30. So they're on pace to allow over 130 more earned runs than the second worst team.
Fuck. Josh, that's not good.
No, and it's not like the Orioles were just like regular bad last year.
No, they were like, wow.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
This tamale is just too hot. What do you think? Huge, big old deviation. But what do you think the career combined WAR is for the Arizona Diamondbacks pitching staff? Like the starters, the rotation.
WAR this year, or did you say career WAR?
Career.
I mean, Bumgarner really throws that off. I have no idea what he is. I want to say he's at like 30. I'll say 40.
Okay, so Bumgarner himself is at about 40.
Okay. There's a chance that still holds true. There's a chance everyone else sucks.
So you got I'm going to spot you. Bumgarner's 40. There's now 4 other guys.
Yeah.
What do their career WARs total? And all these guys are 25 or over. I mean, Merrill Kelly's 30.
Yeah. So Merrill Kelly, Zach Gallen, Zach Davies, he has sneaky WAR. I'll say 30. So I'll say 70 total.
64.6.
Dang, close.
So Madison Bumgarner is 39.8 of that. Merrill Kelly career WAR 6.2. Zach Davies career WAR 9.2. Zach Gallen career WAR 8.9. And Humberto Castellanos, this is his first season, so not super. Oh, wow, this is his third season. Never mind. I'm a fucking idiot. 0.5. That is just not a lot for a rotation, man.
No. Who do you think has the highest total WAR for their starting rotation?
For this season?
Yeah.
That's a good question because Zach Gallen has
Padres.
I see what you're saying. I thought you meant specifically the Diamondbacks. Well, it's got to be guys who have legacy players if you're going to go career WAR, or do you mean single season this season?
Career.
Because the Dodgers have some legacy guys, you know.
Yeah, I mean Kershaw.
The Royals
Buehler.
also have Zach Greinke, so they might be sneaky high on this list too.
The Padres jumped out because they have Darvish, Clev. I feel like he's only had a handful of good seasons. Same with Snell. He had one great one, but that was really it. I don't think he went super high with WAR that year. I mean, the Dodgers are just like the stupid easy bet to take.
For
The
most,
Cardinals,
how are they good ways? Yeah.
the Cardinals are probably up there because Wainwright probably has a bunch. I don't know who else their starters are. That's also part of it. I don't know how where all the old starters are in baseball.
Yeah. This might be a future topic because I don't care enough to do this query right now, but I am now tacitly intrigued. Yeah. Because who has good old who has all the old guys?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking up.
And my baseball reference is wildly uncooperative today.
So the Royals: Zach Greinke, Brad Keller, Chris Bubik, Carlos Hernandez, Daniel Lynch / Brady Singer. I don't think that gets it done. Ooh, the White Sox: Lucas Giolito, Lance Lynn, Dylan Cease, Dallas Keuchel, Michael Kopech. They have two young guys in there. Giolito's had a good couple years. Lynn and Keuchel have had a bunch of good years. That might be a good one.
Okay, finally. Hold on. I'm looking for the WAR leaderboard.
Boy, the Rangers starting lineup is bad. Just so bad.
Yeah, it is. I have win probability added. I'm going to use that. Active career win probability added for pitchers.
I mean, when healthy, the Mets are pretty darn good.
Scherzer, the Mets have to have over 70 just
DeGrom,
between Scherzer and DeGrom. Yeah.
Carrasco's up there too. Chris Bassett.
Yeah. All right, so the active career leaders in WAR. Let's see how long it takes to get two overlapping guys, or win probability added because there wasn't a WAR option. That's just pitchers. Kershaw, Verlander, Greinke, Scherzer, Sale, Kenley Jansen. Yeah, win probability added. That's why. Kimbrel and then there's DeGrom right there. So Scherzer, DeGrom will be. Yeah.
Cardinals: Adam Wainwright, Jack Flaherty, Steven Matz, Miles Mikolas, Dakota Hudson. I don't think that takes it, but I think that's a top 5 team.
How much WAR?
Oh, it's got to be the Dodgers. The Dodgers are just gross with WAR.
They are warlords after all. Because we just looked at Scherzer and DeGrom's WAR literally the last episode, and I want to say they've got to have 75 between the two of them.
At least, yeah.
All right, so looking at WAR pitchers, Greinke has the most. Wow, I would not have picked Greinke. I would have picked Kershaw, who has second most WAR.
Yeah. Where's Verlander?
Third, Verlander. Okay. And then Scherzer, and then Chris Sale, Adam Wainwright. So still no overlapping teams. And then there's DeGrom. So again, Scherzer, DeGrom is a big one. Next set of overlapping teammates would be Price, Kershaw, and Price would also overlap.
I don't think Price is in the rotation this year, but for this exercise,
on the Dodger. Oh, right. Yeah, that's a good point. Kluber, where's Johnny Cueto pitching right now? I forget.
I don't think he is.
I thought he was somewhere. He's listed as an active player.
Johnny Cueto. White Sox.
Oh shit! I underestimated Scherzer. So all right. So between Scherzer and DeGrom, they have over 100 WAR right there.
Ooh.
Yeah, I forgot Scherzer had 67 WAR. I was conflating his WAR with DeGrom's WAR, which is 42.4. So they have about 110 WAR between just the two of them. Yeah, and then Cueto has not pitched this season.
Wow.
It's gotta be the Mets then. And then Strasburg, and then Cole, Lance Lynn. That's just hilarious. Anibal Sanchez, Darvish. Yeah, it's the Mets. It's gotta be the Mets.
Yeah, that's just a two-headed dragon that just doesn't get overcome. What's Carlos Carrasco? I guess I could
especially I'll look it up. Especially considering the fact that I'm willing to bet most teams are built like Carlos Carrasco's 77th for all players. He has a career 21.5 WAR.
Nice. That's a good.
So
that's
there's
a good
130 WAR between those three players. I'm willing to bet most teams are built honestly more similar to the Diamondbacks than dissimilar, where you have like one, maybe two guys who have had good careers and have 20 to 40 WAR, and then a bunch of guys.
Wow.
Whereas the Mets have a number of two career giants and then also good people behind them. So yeah, it's got to be the Mets.
Steven Matz and Chris Bassett, between the two, have another 20.
Oh, Steven Matz is on the Cardinals now.
Is he?
Yeah, he hasn't been on the Mets in years.
And what was I looking at?
I have no idea. Steven Matz was just on the Blue Jays for I think 2 seasons.
I was just looking at their. I must have just seen Steven Matz for a different team.
You must have. He has not been on the Mets for a few years.
Other than Miguel, it's who? It doesn't matter. But Taiwan Walker, who has 7.5, so 0.3 less than Steven Matz. So oh well, same difference.
All right. Well, we have been tangential for long enough. Let's get out of here so we can finish watching one of us be sad with our hockey team. All right. Well, if you would like to follow the show on Twitter, you can do so at Juicing Pod. If you'd like to follow Corwin on Twitter, you can do so at Corwin Heller. If you'd like to follow myself on Twitter, you can do so at Joshua D. Tracy. If you'd like to send emails to the show, you can do so at juicingthenumbers@gmail.com. And until Monday, y'all have a good one.
Bye.